Greetings, fellow Ghibli fans. Blue Dragon 5 here. None of Miyazaki, you may have heard of him. Holding the first ever installment of Miyazaki Debates. Tonight's myriad of topics includes Best Dub, Most Compelling Protagonist, you guessed it, from a Miyazaki film, and which Miyazaki film would translate to a theme park land best. Well, there's no time to waste. Start your seaplanes and board the catbus. Time to venture through the forest. Be sure to wave hi to the Kodonos until we find the arena! Okay. In corner, he hungers for quality food animation, like No Face, and responds to a flying pig with "They fly now! It's Tiki!"
Hey, that's right, everyone. I am back. And, Kogios, you are absolutely right. None of our videos get monetized, so fuck it. All right.
Okay. And in the opposing corner, emerging from the bathhouse with a legion of soot sprites, a competitor whose name embodies the very spirit of animation via the Zoetrope. It's Zoe!
Hello! Hi, I am here. That's a thing.
That you are! And joining me, wearing the aprons, the fake beards, and the glasses, it's Jacob Weil and Rohit Dar.
Greetings, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Hope we have a great debate coming up.
See, we're all cosplaying as Hayao Miyazaki. That's kind of the gag there. That's what the judges panel looks like. We all look like him, just kind of sitting there looking all judgy. Basically, you can tell how we're leaning. So we're going like, oh, no. Or like, give him the thumbs up, kind of like the thumbs up from Pop here. In this case, the thumbs up from Hayao. Or, just like, oh, God, just like you're rubbing the hairs.
Oh, my God, dude.
It's not coming together, no. Okay, so how are we doing tonight, everyone?
I'm excited.
Me too.
Happy to be here. Interested to see how this goes.
Yeah.
Excited to now be in the debate seat.
All right.
Yep. Okay, so let's refresh on the rules while we're here. So, way it's going to work, I'll speak slower for the newcomer. I'm kidding. So, here are the rules. Okay, so we're going to reveal our pick. Then you're going to give an opening statement. Basically say all the good stuff about, what your decision was for your main round. And then you fight it out. Like the climax to Porco Rosso, you're going to fight it out, only instead of fist, it's going to be with words.
It's going to be that brutal, Zoe. It's going to be that level of brutality.
Just covered in pork bruises, my friend. They're probably wondering, when will it stop? Well, this is when it'll stop. When you hear R2-D2, come running with the jaws of life, that's when it all stops. So basically when R2-D2 speaks and says, I think they've had enough. It'll be the judge's turn to vote. We're going to discuss who we're each going to kind of like, cast the stone, cast the vote, and whoever gets the most votes wins the point for the main round. Now, each of you, because you made the journey, and you know what, I don't think anyone should leave empty-handed, especially on my birthday. No one should leave. Yeah.
Happy birthday,
Dragon.
What?
As a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, happy birthday.
Just make sure no one leaves empty-handed. I'm going to give you both some Miyazaki money.
Give me all your Miyazaki money.
Exactly. Some Miyazaki money. So you're gonna get some Miyazaki money. Now, what that means is it'll be the optional feature of our little game. You're gonna get a coin that you have the option to flip. You don't have to, but if you flip it, it lands heads. You get a point. Look at you. You got a point now. The world is your oyster. It's all there. One singular point. You didn't have to do anything for it. You just had to have the courage to flip it. Lands tails, well, you lose a point. It's gone. Goodbye. You took a chance, you rolled the die, and, well, you died. It's gone. Now, you only get that after 3 rounds, though. So you just hang tight. You're going to get that no matter what happens. You will both be given that coin to do with as you will. You can pet it. You can call it. You can pet it. You can call it. You call it late for dinner. You can do whatever you want with it. But you can either flip it or not.
One of the coins in the game I hosted was named Kevin,
Yes.
and that was simply because I couldn't think of another name for an April Fool's coin.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin's a great name for an April Fool's coin.
Oh,
It is.
thank you.
For a nickel, it can be Philip.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, so hidden, speaking of coins here, so hidden in one of our merry Miyazaki rounds is the gold Ghibli coin. It's gold. So
Which
gold Ghibli.
I need to remind you is actually pronounced gold Ghibli coin.
Right? Well, it's depending on who you ask. Some people say Ghibli, a lot of people say Ghibli. It sounds like the correct pronunciation is Ghibli, so...
Well, the way it's written in Japanese, it's pronounced Ghibli.
I just said that.
I know, but I'm just saying officially.
Okay, thank you. So, the gold Ghibli coin will be awarded to the winner of whatever round it is found in. That coin, I assure you, will be flipped, no matter what. All right. There's a penalty word in effect. And you're probably wondering what the heck's a penalty word. Now, penalty word could be a name, could be a place, could be a phrase. Starting now that I've said it,
Oh god.
from this point forward in our game here, between the two of our players, if they all say it during the round, after the round, or possibly even think it. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what they're thinking, at least. Well, they can't write down what they're thinking. So, name, place, phrase, what have you. If you say it, something bad happens to you.
And I will be the one keeping an ear out for the phrase.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good idea of what one of the phrases is, and I will be avoiding it. We'll see.
Well, what is it?
Ha.
Well, Tiki, I hate to tell you, but it was actually a sound effect this time. And,
Oh, God.
It was kidding.
That would be so funny,
Heck,
Dragon.
the funny thing is, one of the ones I proposed was the mispronunciation of Ghibli.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So, again, so bear that in mind, and may God have mercy on your soul. So, first to 5 points wins. That's the name of the game. The speed round, which we'll get to after the main round, in which, well, things get a little complicated, but fun all the same. Players, do you understand these rules? I've explained them to you both here this fine evening.
Yes.
Sure, close enough. Let's go.
Okay. Let's cue the randomizer. Let's find out who's going first and who's going second
Woo.
for
I mean-
3 rounds.
Well, I originated as this orange bird. Do you want me to put you in as Zoe instead?
Oh god.
Yes.
Okay.
Jacob, you spoiled it. You ruined it. All right. It's all good.
All right.
Tiki, it might not have been spoiled if you hadn't said it got spoiled. It could have just been an honest mistake.
right.
Yeah, very, very, very big coincidence. Yes. All right.
Well, Tiki goes first anyway.
Okay.
And that brings us to round numero uno.
Yes.
Or in this case, Ichi. Round Ichi. Which Miyazaki film has the best overall dub?
Okay. All right.
And
So
for
opening statement on my end.
Now, just like your pick. Remember, your picks and both of you give your picks.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, so I chose Kiki's delivery service specifically because there's multiple dubs of Kiki. So I just want to be all official here. It is specifically the Disney dub, not the Streamline dub.
And Zoe, your pick?
And I picked Howl's Moving Castle because Billy Crystal plays fire.
Okay.
Well, I mean, save the rest of that for your opening statement.
Yeah.
Which in case Tiki's will go first.
Okay. Kiki's delivery service, I feel, has the best Miyazaki dub, specifically because of the themes of the movie and how relatable the characters need to be. I think if you're going for a Miyazaki movie for the spectacle of it all, I am one of those people that's almost always a purist when it comes to going with the subs over the dubs. I think the Disney dubs have overall been great. Definitely a step above most other anime dubs, at least for the time period that they came out in. I understand that anime dubs have gotten a lot better over the years. But here's the thing with Kiki, is that I feel like Kiki has this great kind of collection of very, very established voice actors. People like Phil Hartman, Tresh McNeil, Cass Tucci, Jeff Bennett. I mean, just like the freaking list goes on. Debbie Derryberry. You've just got so many people. Corey Burton in multiple roles. Jeff Bennett in multiple roles. So many people, so many icons of the animation industry, of the voiceover industry. But I think they're put into their characters in a very naturalistic way. And the two big things that really elevate this movie are Kirsten Dunst as the title character of Kiki. She just has such a vulnerability to her delivery, such a just a complex range of emotions, going from like overjoyed to sad to just overwhelmed at life, and just all the roller coaster of emotions that the story goes through. Phil Hartman is the cat, though. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for Phil Hartman, and that is why I picked this movie, specifically because I feel like Phil Hartman does such a great job as the cat that let's just give credit where credit's due, as Gigi, not just the cat, Gigi. I want to be polite here. He does such a good job as Gigi that when Gigi loses the voice about halfway through, you genuinely feel it, and it is genuinely tragic, and that is one of the biggest plot points of the whole movie. And you could not get that watching the sub and not having a voice actor like Phil Hartman to really endear you to a character like that. So all across the board, we're talking just animation icons and voice acting icons, but the two lead performances just really anchor it and really give it this sense of gravitas and this sense of it being bigger than itself. So yeah, I really think that Kiki's delivers on all cylinders when it comes to a great dub and what a great dub should be.
All right. Zoe, you're up.
So I chose Howl's Moving Castle. This is one of my favorite Ghibli dubs, just in terms of how great the characters make you feel. I've watched it both subbed and dubbed, and there's something about Billy Crystal playing Calcifer, my amazing little fire demon, that just nails it. It hits it out of the park. He is sassy and is constantly contradicting Sophie and Howl, but he has this softness in his voice when he ends up talking to some of them that really makes you feel the emotion of oh, okay, maybe this found family isn't so bad. Maybe it's not awful. And you get that with all of the other characters. They just really deliver in softening their emotions from when they first meet. You also have Christian Bale as Howl, which is just impeccable. Gene Simmons as Old Sophie, which is who you hear throughout most of the movie, and she has the ability to play this tired old woman who's just so over everything, despite having only been old for like a few days. And Josh Hutcherson as Markle, they come together to be this little family, and you can hear how their voices change and talking to each other and soften into this found family in a way that I think really brings them together to where if you're not even watching the movie, you're just listening to it, you can hear the plot of when things start changing. And they all just kind of nail it.
Okay, let's fight it out.
Anytime now.
Yeah, don't rush all at once.
Because I'm dying of old age right now. Come on.
Tiki's muted.
I literally, I was going, but I forgot I was muted. I apologize. So Zoe, I'm surprised that you put Christian Bale in such high regard, because frankly, if I were in your shoes, he would be the person in the cast that I would be like, yeah, everyone else is great. I can totally, like, you didn't even mention Lauren Bacall, but I'll give you Lauren Bacall. She's great. Billy Crystal. You know what? I would usually make the argument that Billy Crystal is a little distracting. I kind of feel that way with certain very distinct celebrity voices, but you know what? I'm hanging a lot of my argument on Phil Hartman, so I feel like that's kind of a wash. Christian Bale, though. I feel like Christian Bale's performance in Howl's Moving Castle has always been a little bit divisive, and I'm surprised that you didn't kind of bury him a little bit more. Because frankly, I do not think he does a good job. I think he is a little bit wooden. I think he really struggles with trying to convey that gravitas that the character calls for. And just a lot of other elements of the movie just feel a little bit stilted, a little bit awkward. It very much has that sort of thing with dubs for me personally, where it's like, yeah, they're doing good performances, but it's like I can tell that this is not how the movie was originally. Like, I can tell the actual dub factor more than I can in Kiki's. And honestly, I think a big part of that is I feel like, and honestly, my main argument for Kiki's is that I strongly feel that with Kiki's delivery service, the dub leaning mostly on like seasoned voice actors, even Phil Hartman, who's like a lead role, is a seasoned voice actor, versus Howl's Moving Castle, where Howl's Moving Castle very much kind of leans more into the celebrity casting side of things. It's not bad, it's just a different approach, a different execution, and I think that Kiki's, for what it's trying to do, comes off a lot more natural. I think Howl, for being such a spectacle movie, some of the celebrity voices, even Billy Crystal, as fun as he is, are almost a little bit distracting for me personally.
See, I get where you're coming from in saying that Christian Bale feels a little bit stilted and a little bit like not quite fitting, but I think that adds to his character. This is a man who has spent his entire life running. He has spent his entire life being a coward. He literally doesn't have a heart. And so the fact that his voice kind of represents that, where he's playing this big, grandiose character and he doesn't know where he fits. He's not filling the shoes properly. It's like an ill-fitting cloak. He just doesn't know what to do with himself. And he's been playing this role for so long that he thinks he's nailing it. And he's not. And I think that comes through with the voice acting, to where your argument of it being sort of stilted and sort of wooden lends to reading his character deeper. Whereas with Kiki's delivery service, yes, all of the voices are excellent, but I don't feel like any of them have that sort of mark where the voice hits what the character is feeling under every single layer. You strip everything back of what they're trying to present to the world, and what you're hearing is what they're actually going for. Whereas with Kiki's delivery service, it's all done very well, but it's almost done too well. It's almost done too nicely. I don't think you're getting as much of the inner workings of these characters. You're just kind of getting the words as they're being said.
Okay, I mean, that's valid. I see what you're trying to say about Howl, and I get it. But at the same time, you are basically trying to argue for a very imperfect performance based on the character. For me, I absolutely think that Kirsten Dunst is she's obviously the title character, and I feel like she goes through so much in this movie because this movie is basically, for me, I describe it as the ultimate adulting is hard movie. And she has to go through that. She has to go through that early excitement of striking out on her own and being young and naive and literally having her head in the clouds, to facing reality and facing the hardship of what life has in store. And I truly feel that for any young person, Zoe, I'm sorry, but this is going to kind of tease a little bit into my argument against Chihiro as well. I think that Kirsten Dunst does an even better job of conveying that kind of transitional period in your life where you just have no idea what you want to be, but you have your convictions. I think she does a better job of it than the voice actress in Spirited Away does. I really think she nails it. And then, like I said, Phil Hartman, it's not like Phil Hartman is Gigi is like, tugging at your heartstring or having like a million layers to his character or whatever, but he is so likable. And like I said, when that voice gets taken away about midway through in a major plot point, you as an audience feel it just as much as Kiki feels it. And I feel like that's essential. I feel like that's an essential part of what makes Kiki's dub work as well as it is and be even better than the original Japanese audio.
You make a very good point about Gigi, because that part definitely hit hard. And Kiki herself does great. I just feel like the supporting cast is kind of forgettable. I know I've watched this movie. I've watched this movie a lot. It was one of the movies I grew up with. And I grew up with the Disney dub, as you're talking about. But as I'm sitting here and you're explaining how well these voices worked out and how much emotion they're conveying, I can't hear them. I can't recall what they made me feel or how they were. I know that Gigi losing his voice was a heavy hit, and I know that Tiki does a really great job at being this sort of like how to deal with the burnout of being an adult and not knowing what you're doing, but you can't hear them. I don't feel like they had a lasting impression, despite how well stacked the cast was, as you had said at the beginning. Whereas with Howl's Moving Castle, you have these lines that you can just hear. Mm-hmm. Like Calcifer says, "Here's another curse for you. May all your bacon burn." And you can hear it. You can hear his voice in your head. And it leaves a lasting impression in a way that I don't feel the voices in Kiki's delivery service does. You hear these lines and they stick with you.
So I actually think the fact that you can't actively hear the voices in your head, I actually think that could be looked at as a good thing in Kiki's case, specifically because we're dealing with people like Jeff Bennett, Corey Burden, even someone like a Debbie Reynolds. I feel like these are all very, very distinct people. And like I said, I do kind of have a little bit of a disconnect when it comes to if someone shows up in a Ghibli movie that is so big and their name and their voice is so memorable, someone like a Billy Crystal, as good as he plays that character, it does take me out of it a little bit. Whereas I truly feel like what these characters are doing, I will agree with you. The side characters in Howl's Moving Castle, definitely more interesting than the side characters in Kiki. That is a point I will very much give Kiki, or very much give Howl's as a film. That being said, I feel like Howl's Moving Castle as a film is one of those films that kind of gets criticized for being a little all over the place and having a lot going on. It has a lot of memorable characters, but the actual dynamic of how they all fit together is a little bit messy. Whereas Kiki, I feel like Kiki is very much a movie that is just anchored completely by its lead character, experiencing the world, going through these trials and tribulations. And I think it's a very Miyazaki thing that she doesn't get overly attached to any one person. Like, Tombo is probably the closest thing she has to a friend, but even with him, there's a really, really dramatic and heartfelt scene that just tears my heart out, where he's trying to introduce her to his friends on the beach, and the friends are just not being receptive to her. So, like, Tiki by her nature is an outcast. And because of that, I truly think we're not meant to be like, oh my god, this lovable cast of supporting side characters. I really think that these characters serve their purpose as well as they need to, while still giving all the breathing room for Kirsten Dunst to kind of have that powerhouse central performance.
That's a very good point. In that the side characters are not meant to be as integral to the plot of the movie, so you don't really need to focus on them or their vocal performances quite as much. But I feel like that is, in some ways, like, not a negative of the dub, but just a negative of, like, you're not getting as full of a cast as you are being presented in terms of that sort of quality. You are very much focusing on, this is the one character that we're focusing on, and therefore this is the one voice that is going to be your one standout. Whereas I feel like Howl's Moving Castle, you have all of these characters that have their own vocal personality, and they have their own, like, journey on that you can hear throughout their performance of the entire movie, that gives it a richer feeling in terms of talking strictly about it being a dub. In being a dub, we are talking about the voices, and I feel like Kiki's Delivery Service, you're focusing very narrowly in on these 1-2 voices, whereas Howl's Moving Castle, by having a wider cast and having all of that cast sort of kind of hit it out of the park, in my opinion. Even, like, characters I haven't talked about, like Madame Sullivan and the Witch of the Waste, they have such distinct voices. You can feel their character's personality in their voices. It's all cast really well. And so by kind of narrowing in on those 1 or 2 characters in Kiki's Delivery Service, I feel like you're losing the plot of it being the best dub, because what we're focusing on is these voices, and having a richer cast, you just kind of naturally have more to go with.
Okay. So, how we voting? Where are we leaning? Rohit.
So here's sort of my feelings of this overall round. First, I think a mistake made by both debaters, I felt, in my part, was that there wasn't a mention for both picks. How does the dub improve upon the overall quality of the film compared to the original sub?
I mean, I mentioned that with the Gigi thing.
I got that, but I feel like you didn't make it as. I feel like it should be central, because the thing is, in my mind, it's like, for this round, like, which Miyazaki film is the best world dub? I think one of the aspects of arguing for equality of a dub is that, hey, for the sub, these actors do X, Y, and Z, and it goes up to this point in the quality of the film. But with the dub, you get more of what Miyazaki is trying to convey in his vision of the film. 2, I think, Tiki, near sort of the end of your arguments, it felt less like you were making really specific arguments about the quality of the voice acting in Kiki, and went on about, like, oh, there's this really emotional narrative struck, and I feel like you went away from the round question to talk about which is a good film. And I think, Kiki can be a good film, but I just feel like, for me, I think between the two, I think Zoe made a more concerted effort to, and I really appreciate this line of argument about how it's not just, oh, these voices fit with these characters. I think Zoe had a really good rebuttal where they made the point that Christian Bale's woodenness and stiffness is reflective of the character, and I feel like Tiki didn't make any great counter to that. And I think Zoe's insistence that it's not just seeing a voice that fits a character, it's the voice acting. The second part, the acting part, through the cadence, inflection, even though Zoe didn't use those words, I got that feeling. And so I feel like, in terms of between these two films, I am making the decision about, instead of watching the sub, I'm going to watch the dub. And I feel like Zoe, in my view, made a better case why, in watching the dub, I get a better experience out of watching said dub versus just watching Tiki. So that in this respect, my vote goes to Zoe for Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay, that's one vote for Zoe. All right, Jacob.
Jacob, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all good.
Well, you see, I guess what I was trying to say was, like, I don't necessarily think that dub necessarily needs to improve or anything like Rohit was going on about, but I think you both gave really good picks and opinions as to why you chose which. Although I think as far as like being an overall quality dub goes, I think Zoe gave more input as to why Howl's dub is better versus like how it actually fits, and you can actually notice the characters like over Kiki's, whereas Tiki's argument was more regarding like just the narrative itself. Like, don't get me wrong,
My argument
Tiki,
was that the voice actors like blended into their roles very seamlessly, but it's fine.
like, I mean, I get that, and I just think Zoe did it better.
All right.
Dragon?
Well, I mean, it really does amount to a hill of beans, to quote the great Humphrey Bogart, but it's...
Or to go Wesley Niels, like, this is our hill, and these are our beans.
Okay, he's got the better quote. Regardless, I don't know. I thought Tiki stuck to his guns with Kiki, and I think he made a really good point with the GG of it all. I mean, I don't know. I thought those were really.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rohit. I don't mean to like push back on you, but like I did specifically like that GG thing was kind of like almost kind of the heart of my argument on why the dub is better to watch than the sub, because you just get a lot more emotional attachment out of that character. So I don't know. It is what it is. It's fine. I'm not trying to like push back on it, but yeah, that did kind of surprise me. That specific point. All right.
Okay. Anyway, so yes, so my point goes to Tiki, but Zoe's got the vote, so Zoe gets the point.
All right.
For round number one.
All right, hold on, just one moment. There we go.
Okay. There's the board. Okay. Jacob, were any words said by chance?
It's like, how much do you guys want to know? Like, how anxious are you to know it?
Give me about 65%.
All right, I think I can match that. And it's like I can say with certainty that without a shadow of a doubt, the word was definitely not said by anyone.
Okay. Oh, well, I guess we'll move on. Oh, wait a minute. I've just received a package. Might be a birthday gift. Hold on. Let me open it. Let me unwrap it here.
Was it delivered by broomstick?
You know, as a matter of fact, I think it was. Okay, it says. Oh wow, this is from from Ghibli with love. Wow, let's open this up. Let's see what this says here. Oh yeah, I've heard about this happening once. I hope it's not a katana with a pointed threat. Let me oh wait a minute, no, it's a very long box, but it is deceptively long. I'm opening up here, and look in the center of this long katana-shaped box. There is a coin. It's the gold. It is the gold Ghibli coin awarded to Zoe. Zoe, you got the coin.
I got the coin.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
And here it is.
All right, Zoe. So you have the gold Ghibli coin.
Yep.
What will you do now?
Well, I'm thinking I'm gonna flip it. Actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna flip it.
All right.
Okay. Let's flip it. Let's see what happens.
Well, you know what this calls for. Hold on, just 1 second.
Calls for stalling.
It calls for this. Suspense. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, bummer.
And we're back to 0. Okay.
0-0. All right.
That's a shame.
All right, now.
It's okay. The points may still be 0-0, but that does not take away the fact that I won that one.
That is true. That
True,
is
yeah.
true.
That's a way of looking at it.
All right.
Goose eggs all around.
Yep. Moons over our hammies. Okay, so who, pray tell, is the... Okay, round number 2. Okay, who is the most compelling Miyazaki protagonist?
All right, for me, this is pretty cut and dry. It's got to be my boy Ashitaka, man.
All right, we got Tiki with Ashitaka.
From Princess Mononoke.
Yes.
There you go. All right.
And
So,
I had to go with Chihiro from Spirited Away.
how do we say her name again? I'm
Chihiro.
Chihiro.
Yes, hero, yeah.
Chihiro.
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 Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, opening statement for me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that Ashitaka is one of the primary reasons that Mononoke works as well as it does, as not just a film, but as an epic. I think just having the film open with him and kind of that traditional Legend of Zelda protagonist kind of mold, like coming in and defeating the big evil thing, only for that to be the catalyst for him to go on this like harrowing journey of not just self-discovery, but like battling his inner demons and just grappling with which side he should be on. There's that very famous quote from the Billy Bob Thornton character where he's like, what side is he on anyways? And I feel like that just perfectly encapsulates Ashitaka as a character. I feel like Ashitaka is very much someone where he does have principles and beliefs when it comes to this this crazy war against the forest that's going on around him. But at the same time, I am so compelled by the fact that he is not really... He does have stakes in that, but his bigger stakes are his personal stakes, are his inner demons. And there's so much symbolism with him. There's so much growth. It just really kind of blows me away how much character they got out of one film with this guy.
I had to go with Chihiro from Spirited Away because she is, in my opinion, the embodiment of a Ghibli protagonist. And I'm going to pronounce it Ghibli. I understand I'm wrong. It's habit at this point. Because she is just the embodiment of, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing these things. But unfortunately, I have to do what's right. And so I'm going to continue to do what's right, even when it's hard and even when it sucks. And it's just impressive to watch her grow over the course of the movie, especially when you remember, and sometimes it's hard to remember, that she is so young. She is simply a small child who should be going to school and having friends, and instead she has been thrust into this spirit world. Her parents have been turned into pigs, and she's trying desperately to get everyone back home safe. And even when it's not something that suits her personal interests of trying to get her parents home, she does what's right. And in a movie that is surrounded by these themes of greed and these themes of selfishness, she stands out as just the shining example of doing what's right.
Okay. Yeah, let's battle with words.
So she's a Mary Sue then? I'm sorry, that was harsh. That was too harsh. But no, here's the thing. I get what you're going for with the kind of the everyman kind of put into the situation where she has to be the one to rise above it all. My issue with Chihiro, and honestly Spirited Away as a film, like, I certainly respect it and like it a lot. It's not in my top 5 Ghibli movies, specifically because I feel like it's a little derivative of just very, very fundamental fantasy and coming of age concepts. It's kind of got that Alice in Wonderland quality going on, but it's also got kind of like a Dickensian vibe to it, with the young person being put into a working class and a system that they don't know and that they have to adapt to. It's got all that. My thing is that, well, Ashitaka, his arc might be rooted in traditional mythology as well. I actually think it's almost fair to say that Ashitaka's arc is kind of reminiscent of like the Jake Sully dances with wolves thing. I mean, he is literally like hanging out with wolves in the movie. But I feel like because he is so tormented on either side of it, I think that's what really elevates it and really makes his character just come across as so fleshed out. I feel like if he was just the lone hero riding through the wilderness trying to stop Minnie Driver from cutting off the head of the forest spirit, I feel like his character would be very boring and very stock. But because he's got this literal demon within him that is not just physically manifesting itself, but also manifesting itself in very compelling ways, in ways of like, do I deserve to keep living? Like, who am I as a person now that I'm struck with this darkness? And the way I've always read that is very much just like, as we get older and as we mature out of childhood, we are going to do shit that stains us, no matter what it is. There is going to be shit that we do in life that we regret. There is always going to be a little bit of black demon smudge on your arm. And I really like how Ashitaka and his whole arc like really relates to the very complicated nature of, you kind of just got to live with it at a certain extent. So Chihiro, I think, is more so like, I really do appreciate her as far as just being like a pretty, a very likable girl. I just think that I feel like the transition that she goes through in the movie is a transition that I have seen in other movies, including Tiki, honestly. Done to, like, Tiki is also about kind of like, holy shit, I'm being thrown into this adult world and it is much harder than I thought it would be. So yeah, I don't know. I appreciate Spirited Away, but I just think Ashitaka just has so much more dimension going for him.
I think it's interesting that you started off with calling Chihiro a Mary Sue, because I feel like
that was a joke.
I could be getting the definitions wrong here, but a Mary Sue is someone who's well equipped to handle the challenges that come at her, even when it's not really realistic. And she's not. She's not at all equipped for any of this, and has not once been doing things correctly. Even in the scenes where she's praised, what she's doing is with help from friends and with help from No Face, which is a whole lesson on the kindness and how you can deal with that, where she just doesn't know what she's doing. She's not equipped to handle this world. And her lessons are less of Kiki, of being like, oh, well, I'm thrust into this adult situation that I don't know how to handle, and I've literally lost my parents, and I am in a world that should not exist, and yet I am here, and what do I do now? Which I feel like is a very fundamentally different sort of reality from the other movies that you made the comparison to, in which I don't think I've seen a protagonist that is so dead set on just figuring it out. And when you can't figure it out, you just do whatever is the next correct move.
And all that is very valid for her character, but I don't necessarily think it makes her. I feel like it makes her more of a blank slate than anything. I've always viewed her character as like a character that the audience can kind of project their own experiences onto, which is not a bad thing. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why the movie is as popular as it is because she is a very relatable character. But I mean, I don't know. I just look at the two arcs, and Ashitaka just has. I'd be curious to hear your blowbacks on Ashitaka because I don't think there are any. Frankly, I feel like he's just so multi-layered.
He is very multi-layered, and he is an interesting protagonist for the movie that he's in. That movie, however, is a 3-hour slog of feeling lectured at. And while his character does a good job at holding it together and making it feel like a movie, I don't think his character is good enough to hold up the fact that you're being lectured at for 3 hours. And I feel like there are more compelling characters in that movie than him.
I made the Avatar comparison, and I feel like that's a movie that lectures at you. I feel like what Miyazaki's doing with Mononoke, it's not lecturing, it's just letting you live in the world and feel the damage that this stuff does to the world. And it is kind of a traditional story structure there, but I feel like Mononoke by far does it in the most compelling way through Miyazaki's sheer filmmaking.
I don't feel like it fits like any other Miyazaki film, though, because every other Miyazaki film, while there is these real-world issues that are being handled, there's also the room to breathe. And this movie does not give you room to breathe.
I disagree.
Any second of lighthearted, just living in this moment and taking a breath, and it's not. It goes.
I feel like the entire first 35-40 minutes before Ashitaka gets to the Iron Town is that. I feel like it is letting you take in the atmosphere. But this isn't even about the movie. We're kind of trailing off track from the movie at this point. This is about the character. And in regards to the character himself, I really think that with Ashitaka, again, like you mentioned that Chihiro lost everything. Ashitaka, the dude literally saves his entire fucking village, and he loses everything because of that act of heroism and just the inner turmoil in him. And I have been someone that's always kind of struggled with, like, I will go out of my way to do the right thing, but I will not always get rewarded for it, and sometimes doing the right thing will blow back in my face. So because of that, I can strongly relate to the struggles going on. And yeah, I mean, just with me, like, and you also pointed out that Mononoke doesn't feel like a Ghibli movie. That is 100% completely intentional on Miyazaki's part. Miyazaki specifically created the movie so that it did not feel like another Miyazaki movie, both in terms of not having aerial mechanical devices, not the other thing that I think is going to be the word, but aerial mechanic devices is what I will go with. And then also just being much more mature and much more of just like a straight up war movie. And like a dude gets his head shot off with an arrow 10 minutes into the film. Like, yeah, it is absolutely not trying to be another Miyazaki movie. And I feel like that's why so many people, myself included, have it at the very top of their Miyazaki rankings. All right.
Okay.
Unfortunately timed R2D2, but I will agree.
All right.
Jacob.
Okay, I guess I'm going first here.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give a point to Tiki.
All right.
Okay. All right. I, too, award the point to Tiki.
Right.
Judge Dar, what say you?
Judge Dar.
Yeah, that way. I think overall, I think really it was Tiki's point, and I think, man, what Tiki thinks about, like, the way he presented Achikosho, and like it gave me like vibes of like Sir Gawain from the Green Knight and Paul Atreides from Dune and all that stuff. And it's like, oh man, that I really want to see this movie. And I feel like for Zoe, like, in describing this character, And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then when Tiki kind of responds is it's like kind of what it's sort of it's like Chihiro is basically a YA like fantasy character. Not to be too reductive, but I just feel like it's familiar, and I feel like Zoe didn't just try to say, well, it does it much better and this or that, and I feel like we kind of got lost with talking about the movie and not and weirdly I feel like Zoe kind of feed into Tiki's point that like the character Atikosho is so compelling a protagonist that he holds this movie that she finds not great together. And I feel like that's kind of in itself like indicative of how compelling the protagonist is, that they're even better in the movie, or they've elevated the movie to like newer heights. So obviously it's a sweep, so Tiki gets the point.
I do think the Mary Sue comment was ill.
No, Zoe, I want to just apologize for that. I saw the opening and I went for it, but that was unnecessary, and I apologize. That was unnecessary.
I mean, the moment I heard that, I was like, well, he's already wanting to lose this round, isn't he?
I know, right?
You're good.
I just, with me, when I see an opening for a snarky comment, I am going to take it.
I just think it's funny that you had to go with the Mary Sue when you started your conversation with, he's Link.
No, I said he starts out as Link. He's very much not Link. If he was just Link, the argument would be moot. Anyways.
Hey, who's afraid of Link Hogthrob again? Was that
Ergron, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, but
oh my god.
But that's not. Yeah, but that's.
I know it's a different Link. The name made me think of it.
Dragon doesn't know that much about Nintendo, but Dragon, I think you know what Link we're talking about.
I know what Link you're talking. I'm just saying, with the name Link, I'm thinking of the other Link, which I think is funnier.
All right.
You were at that point, though. I might actually even go back and rewatch the movie. I probably won't enjoy it, but I might actually go back and rewatch the movie.
Yeah, the protagonist of The Legend of Zelda, Captain Link Hogthrob.
Oh, could you? Oh my god, dude! Somebody make that a mod.
Someone has had to have tried that at some point. Get a fan art or parody or something.
I don't know.
Anywho,
right.
Jacob.
But we'll fought rounds though.
Yeah, we'll fight.
All
right. Jacob, dare I ask, was the word said?
Like, how anxious are you this time?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of grabbing the anvil rope right now. What do you got?
Rohit, how about you? How anxious are you?
Wait, what?
I'm asking
repeat your question.
Like, how anxious are you to hear if the word was said or not?
I'm in a normal state of anxiousness, so not really anxious at all.
Okay, so I won't try to oversell it.
What's that like, Rohit?
Yeah, what's anxiety to be none?
That was amazing, Dragon.
It's called being an adult that has their shit together.
Oh, bird!
Wow.
That's literally none of us except maybe Zoe.
Nah.
I mean, I like to think I have my stuff pretty well together too.
Fair enough, Jacob. Fair enough.
But okay, all right. So,
oh man, bro, that was savage.
Harsh but fair.
Dragon and Rohit have this back and forth going on.
All right.
But
basically, Rohit hates my guts. That's the back and forth. That's basically.
All right. I'm not gonna do a bit this time. The word was not said.
Okay.
Cool.
Did you like how I tiptoed around a potential word? Did you appreciate that?
I appreciated it.
All right.
Whether or not it was in vain, you'll have to find out.
Uh-huh.
I hope it was.
I think
if you had any guts, you'd say it.
I can honestly say you guys have come close a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, this next one I'm really excited about.
You actually took my second pick.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah. I'm sticking to my guns on this one, but...
Oh, I've got ideas, man. I've got ideas. All right.
All right, should I tee it up, Dragon?
Yeah. All right. Which Miyazaki film would best translate into a theme park land?
All right, I have Ponyo.
So?
I have Totoro.
Okay. All right, so my pitch for a Ponyo-based land. Here's the thing. There's been a lot of talk about environmental puzzles recently, especially on a certain competition. And my whole thing is that my vision for this land is I essentially want to make, and we're talking about Zelda too, so why not? I'll throw in a Zelda reference. My vision for this land is essentially it being a water temple that you can walk around and actually like interact with the water levels. So basically the idea is that this town is like constantly in a state of being flooded, and there are different water levels to it that you can activate through environmental puzzles to get to different sections of it. So that is the exploratory element of it, is the water rising and lowering, that kind of thing. That just kind of would lead to just sort of like little alcoves and little character vignettes and stuff like that. Nothing too fancy, but just a nice little reward for going off the beaten path. I'm envisioning two distinct signature attractions with this land. One where it's essentially a thrill ride where you get to ride with the mother through all the flooded roadways and stuff. And, we all know how memorably bad of a driver that mother character was. So that is going to be an attraction. And that's going to be the above water attraction. And then the real signature headliner is going to be the Journey to Ponyo's Kingdom, which is going to be just a straight up e-ticket, 20,000 leagues under the sea, all underwater extravaganza showing off all kinds of crazy Ghibli, Miyazaki fish and creature designs, in animatronic form, in physical form. It's going to be a crazy time. And the signature experience on top of everything, even more so than the attractions themselves, is just going to be called simply the Ham Stand. And what the Ham Stand is, the best way I can describe it, is this, how Bubba Gump has like everything you can possibly do with shrimp? This has everything you can possibly do with ham. Every sort of possible thing that you could do with ham is on this damn menu. And that's the signature Good Night Tri-State Area.
Great pitch. Excellent. I'm just going to start with that. I love that.
Thank you.
However, I feel like I'm picking the choice that I think people most want to see in a theme park, because the world of My Neighbor Totoro is so rich in visuals. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's so well done, and I think turning that into a super immersive sort of land a la Cars Land or Galaxy's Edge, where your focus is on the environment and getting to really feel like you're being transported into the movie, is something that anyone who's watched this movie would love. Because when May is going through all of the tree roots and it's covering her and the sunlight is seeping through, and you find the giant Totoro, the signature character, and he's sitting under there, and it's just beautiful. Rides for this land are going to, of course, be My Beloved Catbus. Naturally, the Catbus has to feature as sort of a drive through the land, but more sightseeing, sort of like the trolley at California Adventure, where someone is pointing out all of these things at how they happened in the movie. Another one would be a dark ride where you're going through more or less the story, but with and I know, Tiki, we've had this conversation before. It's a trackless dark ride. It's a trackless dark ride because the ride system is nice for this. Where you go through, you see You're following the little teeny tiny Totoros through as they're leading you through the garden and everything, and it is just beautiful and very visually, just emphasis on it looking pretty. I think theme park lands, everyone wants the big e-ticket, the super thrill ride, and I think sometimes smaller lands can be just environmental. And then the suit sprites have to have their own little shop with the suit sprites because they're cute and I love them.
All right. Let's do it. Let's fight out.
So I will agree with you that Totoro is definitely the more iconic of the two movies. But the reason why I went with Ponyo over Totoro, we can both agree that these are the two most kid-friendly properties that Miyazaki's done, and it does make sense to use them in the theme park setting because of that. However, I do think that not only is Totoro a lot more kind of cryptic when it comes to its world building, but I also think that the fact that the movie is set against the war, it makes for a powerful movie, and there are ways to go about just cutting that stuff out of a theme park land, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like Ponyo is just completely the absolute most pure, most untouched by real world shit. It is purely just a movie that Miyazaki wanted to make for his grandchild, and because of that, it truly is one of my favorite Miyazaki movies, just because of how pure of heart it is and how just simple it is. And I think that simplicity would translate beautifully into a theme park environment. Just the whole idea of the town that's constantly being flooded. I think that works a lot better than Totoro has great settings, but like I said, I think they're cryptic. I think that there's not one. I feel like Totoro much more relies on the actual character imagery, the imagery of the giant Totoro in the forest with, sleeping, the imagery of the cat bus. I feel like that kind of stuff translates a lot more than the actual environments themselves.
I get where you're coming from, and I see your point. However, I think the way that you have laid out your land as this sort of environmental puzzle doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel realistic in a way of actually being able to realistically play with those water levels that you're focusing so heavily on. I just don't think the technology is there for that type of land. It would be amazing if we could. I just don't think it works. There's a lot of room for environmental. I think you're
picturing something more complicated than I'm picturing, because basically what I'm picturing is essentially how you get to the Bowser Jr. challenge in Super Nintendo World, but just having that be blocked off by a water feature instead of a cast member. That's kind of essentially what I'm picturing, is little stuff like that, where you'll solve some sort of simple environmental puzzle, and that will open up a water feature, like open up a waterfall or something that you can then walk through. And I don't think that's complicated enough to pull off at all. I think you're thinking that I'm thinking it's more complicated than I'm actually thinking it is.
But what happens when that technology breaks, or when it ends up having technical difficulties or stuff like that? I think that
then you've still got two signature attractions and an incredible dining location.
That's fair, but when your main point was the water levels and the immersiveness of this sort of the rising and falling water levels.
That was the main selling point of Galaxy's Edge, was the immersiveness and the role-playing elements. And do you think anyone's going into Galaxy's Edge now for that stuff? No, they're going into Galaxy's Edge to ride the attractions. I'm saying the water levels thing and the environmental puzzles, it would be a selling point to the land, just like Super Nintendo World, a selling point of Super Nintendo World, which is the closest comparison I can make to the actual gameplay that I'm going for here. The selling point to that is kind of the power bands, but you can still have a good time in Super Nintendo World without the power bands, especially with Epic Universe's Super Nintendo World, where it's got the Donkey Kong ride and the Yoshi ride in addition to Mario Kart. So I really think that the environmental puzzles are there to enhance, for sure, but the land wouldn't crumble at its foundations if some of it didn't work.
That's fair, but I don't think it needs to have that sort of intricacy when the risk level is so high. Whereas with Totoro, you have this beautiful world and you don't need any of those gimmicks to make it more visually interesting because the world just is. Whereas with Ponyo, the water is the world.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not losing anything by not having those little gimmicks, and you're going a little simpler in a way that a lot of theme parks these days aren't, which I feel like a lot of people, myself included, are kind of nostalgic for, is having something that's just well made and not all of these bells and whistles and like tiny things that are going to break in a year.
My pushback to that is that I feel like if you're going to do something that simple, it might as well just be in the actual Ghibli park, which is a very nice park, but it's much more of like a community garden than it is a theme park kind of experience. I respect what you're going for as far as the simplicity. That being said, one thing about your pitch I absolutely have to push back on as far as like, the spectacle. The cat bus cannot just be a transportation ride. I'm sorry, that needs to be the signature experience. You need to have like I feel like that's kind of where you and I are just going to like kind of like just differentiate ourselves as far as our ideas for this. But like I can't imagine going to a Totoro land and the cat bus not being like the signature thing, like a truly mind-blowing experience.
Okay. All right. I'm going to cast the first vote. My vote is Zoe.
Great.
All right. Rohit. Who's your vote?
Initially, I was on Tiki's side with the way the water levels and all that stuff, but I do find compelling the simplicity of the theme park with Zoe's. And I think just in terms of the visual, like the whole iconography, I feel like the fact that Tiki made that clear, I feel like gives much more of a value in having that be a theme park in of itself. And I think the water mechanics I feel like are a little bit dicey. So my point goes to Zoe.
All right, fair enough.
All right.
Not that it matters. I guess I'll weigh in now too.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ambition for Ponyo's land. I mean, that sounds like an awesome idea. Like, and obviously, I'm a big fan of ham myself, so I would love the ham stand.
That was the best part of what he said.
I knew y'all would like that.
Ham stand is 10 out of 10.
Only way it would be better is if John Hamm were invited to break it.
Oh God!
It's like don't worry, I'm a sucker for ham, so that definitely won some points in my book. But
he shows up in like a 3-piece suit
alongside Spider Ham.
Okay. Anyway, let's Jacob gush about his ham.
All right, I'm not gonna gush about ham anymore.
Okay.
So sorry to rain on that parade. But I think Zoe's kind of captured like that the just like slice of life daily thing that Totoro is all about, and this just the simplicity of it. So my point goes to Zoe as well.
All right, clean sweep.
Woo!
Zoe. So
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. This was a tough one.
If y'all don't want a hyper immersive cat bus attraction where when you walk into the ride vehicle, it literally feels like you're walking inside of a living organism, that's on you, man.
Tiki, I think people would be scared about that. I think there's a level of realism that is terrifying.
All right. That's fair.
All right, Jacob.
The catbus just stops halfway through because that's the cough of a few hairballs.
Oh my god.
No, that's a coughs up. No, that's it coughs up passengers, not hairballs.
Oh god.
Yeah, these
but
three
they're
passengers
spit out
need to
like
leave.
hairballs.
Also, as an aside, I think for the Ponyta Trail as a theme park, I would just get worried if headlights is like theme park turns into New Orleans post Katrina or something.
Yeah, that's actually a solid point, Rohit. That is a solid point. Yeah, I feel
Like I said, don't get me wrong. I obviously very much appreciate the ambition there.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I totally get it.
And and I do have a soft spot for Ponyo as well.
Okay,
Ponyo's one of my faves.
Jacob, was anything said this round?
Well, Dragon, how much do you? Are you guys?
Oh my god, Dragon! Oh my god, Jacob! Are we gonna do this every time?
Well, not anymore because you both screwed up.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oh no! Oh
Happy
god!
now, huh, Mister? You happy now?
Was one of the words ham?
Actually,
I
no.
wish.
Okay.
That would have been so
Actually,
satisfying.
The thing is, you technically both said two of the same words.
Cat bus.
No.
Catbus was one. The other one is environmental.
Oh.
Oh man. Oh wow.
Well,
Okay.
you both said each other's words several times.
If you said ecological, Tiki, you would have been safe.
That's
I mean, when I
that
came
is
up with when the word was pitched, I was envisioning more like because Miyazaki is like an environmental things. I thought that was more going to come in something like Mononoke, but
Okay, well, honestly, I kind of feel like having cat bus as a word is very unfair to Zoe, considering I think it's probably next to impossible to lay out a.
but remember, Zoe also did say environmental as well.
That's true.
Yeah,
so what
no,
I'm pitching,
I got hit on both.
what I'm
So-
pitching is that the cat bus thing basically be a moot point, and that Zoe and I both get kind of an equal punishment. That's what I'm pitching.
Well, that was the goal anyway, right? I was going to punish both of you anyway.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So let me just switch over to and behold the wheel
Oh god.
of punishment.
Oh no.
Dragon's choice. Dragon's choice.
I feel like there should be options for either Jacob or mine's choice because I think we can come up with some very cool punishments for.
Well, we all know dragons would be worse, but I can add Rohit's choice too. Rohit's.
It's gonna go to his head though.
I'm right here, Dragon.
I added Rohit's choice into the full.
All right.
All right. So Tiki technically said the word first, so so he'll receive his punishment first.
Yep.
And so here,
Be anxiously waiting.
and so this punishment will befall Tiki. I
Close.
all the same, since you both have the same points, I'll do another. I'll remove that and spin.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So
That's all good.
we chalked up as a suspense spin, I guess.
Oh, the mounting tension.
So much
Almost.
suspense.
Lose 15 seconds from speed round.
All right.
And
Is that going to
means-
be so? Like the opening statement is going to be just 15 seconds.
Yes, for just the first one.
Okay.
Just the first speed run, yeah.
Okay.
So that,
no
so that
problem.
means for the first speed round question, you will only have 15 seconds to open instead of 30.
All
Let's
right.
see how bad things are gonna get for Zoe.
All right.
And
Zoe's
Zoe-
gonna go. Oh no.
Dragon's choice. Dragon's choice.
This will be
Of course, if it
Your-
lands on row hits, we're gonna go dar 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 dar.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Why?
Oh god!
and this means instead of the wheel deciding, that means it will be dragon that decides your fate.
Ah, boy.
Okay.
Okay, let me think. How bad do I want to hurt you? Okay. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. Okay. the next speed round that is a non-wheel option.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have Rohit Dar pick your answer. I'm instructing him to give you the worst possible answer he could think of.
Oh man!
Oh.
All
right.
right, tag team. Okay.
So you have to see if he has an allergy to mercy. So it's at his discretion.
An addendum: Rohit can choose at random whenever he wants.
Ooh.
Okay.
Not necessarily the next speed round, next non-wheel question, but whenever he chooses. So you're
whenever he
always on
chooses, he can just jump in. Okay, I like
All
that.
right. There we go.
to keep Zoe on the toes.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, to the stopwatch,
Oh boy.
and
All right, so
also
we're now entering the speed round. The way the speed round works is it's 30 seconds, traditionally, followed by a 15-second rebuttal. We are opening the floor to audience questions. So you, audience members, yes, you. Don't look to the guy, look you. Okay, you can submit questions, ideally Miyazaki related, and we will be inclined to use them. And guess what? You get to decide the winner of your question, like who made the better argument, and they will get a point. That's on you. You get to do that. Isn't that great? Okay.
let me just update this real quick.
And again, name of the game is first to 5 points wins. Right now,
We are 1-1.
yep. Right now we're 1-1.
Wait.
It's supposed to be one. It must be 1 and 2.
We did not do the coin.
You're right. We did not do the coin. We're going to do that right now.
Yep, sorry, that's my doing. Wait, my screen went dark for a minute. There we go.
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry.
All right, you both have some Miyazaki money to do with what you will. Tiki, you have Miyazaki money. What are you going to do now?
I'm gonna let Zoe go first because I got the last question. I won the last question, so I will let Zoe decide first.
You did not win the last question.
Oh, you're right, I didn't. Oh shit. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
Why are you trying to gaslight Zoe, man?
I'm
What's
so
wrong
sorry.
with you?
I was not
That
intentionally.
Mary Sue
Wake
comment
up.
was indicative of much worse that play for Tiki.
Oh my god. Okay.
So that means you get to decide to go first or Tiki spins.
Tiki spins first.
Okay.
I'm
As
gonna
per the
pass.
rules that he set up, I won the last round, so he can go first.
I'm passing.
Okay. So Zoe, you get to decide if you want to spin again.
I'm not a coward, so I will be spinning my
I
Miyazaki
just don't
money.
want to be down 2-0. That's my logic.
Well, and well, now you're just,
Oh shoot.
Again, man, that's not good.
looks like the coin gods are not favoring Zoe this day.
It's similar to the dice gods, and they've always hated me. That has not stopped me from wanting to bet every single time I can. I stand by my choice.
And so we go into the speed round with 1-0.
Oh man. That's
Wow,
actually
who-
really bad.
Zoe is such a degenerate gambler. Wow. It's just kind of sad, really.
Oh god.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so Dragon, do you want to go with one of ours, or do you want to go with because Pi just suggested one if you want to go with that.
Well, what do you think? Do we want to go pie, or do we want to go with kind of our patented traditional one?
Pi.
Say pie for like a later speed round.
Okay.
All right, so that means we get to go to the wheel. Right, Dragon?
Yes.
Okay, so the wheel of Muppets.
Oh dear.
For
I
some
can't
reason,
see-
for
Yeah.
some reason, it's completely gray. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now,
I
okay. I was
don't know
really
why-
worried there for a second. How's that going to work?
I swear I have no idea why that was happening.
It's all good.
Wheel of Muppets.
Yeah. So as you can see, we have a wide selection of Muppet answers, and so if you don't know how this works, that means you will get to. That means whoever lands on, that's be the one you will be stuck with.
I certainly hope it lands on one I know.
All right.
Yeah.
Dragon, would you allow one respin if it's someone we're unfamiliar with?
I don't know. These are all pretty self-explanatory Muppets.
Yeah, I don't really see any deep cuts on here, honestly.
All right.
Oh no. Feel free to just I'm ready to take what I get.
Okay. If Zoe doesn't know, I think that's kind of on Zoe before it's really on us. So,
You're
Like
correct.
Pops is probably the biggest deep cut on here.
Yes,
I
I
don't
don't even
know.
know. Yes, I don't even know who Pops is.
Oh, get out of here! You know
who
who
Pops is. All right.
He knows who Pops. He doesn't know who's talking. So we're gonna again spin the wheel, win an answer. Only then do you get the Muppet question.
Again,
So who's spinning first, though?
Again, Zoe, you get to decide. Will you spin first or defer to Tiki?
I'll defer to Tiki.
All right, let's do it.
And that means Tiki will also go first.
Yep.
And who?
Come on, New Zealand. Come on, New Zealand.
New Zealand.
I actually didn't really want him that much, but I'll take him. I'll gladly take him.
Well, that was false enthusiasm.
It was kind of like a meme. It was kind of like, yeah, come on, the what the fuck option.
That was
really,
one of two that I'm not familiar with, so I'm so happy you got him.
It kind of, based on this question, I think it will be kind of be a what the.
What's the other options, though?
Well, we'll find out. And 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Who will it be?
Ooh.
Gonzo!
All right, was the one you weren't familiar with Pops?
Yes.
He's the old man who runs the hotel in the Great Muppet Caper.
And he's also the ticket guy at the Muppet Show in later seasons.
Mm-hmm. All right, anyways.
Well, the box office guy. Anyway. All right. Which Muppet should hang out with Hayao Miyazaki?
Oh, my God. Oh, God.
Well, okay then.
Oh,
remember, Tiki's the one who goes first here.
Yep.
Yep.
So, Tiki, reveal to us why New Zealand should hang out with Hayao Miyazaki.
Okay, I got it. All right.
Remember, 15 seconds.
All right. So I strongly feel like New Zealand in this day and age would be all about the memes, and he would not be hanging out with Hayao Miyazaki to have like thoughtful conversations about the environment or whatever. He would be hanging out with Hayao Miyazaki to troll him and film him being trolled, and it would be fucking funny as shit.
Zoe, 30 seconds when you're ready.
All right, so Gonzo feels this niche in the Muppets of what is your gender? And the answer is, I don't know. And I find that Miyazaki films have a lot of playing with these traditional gender roles, and I feel like Gonzo would be all for making it even harder. I have more seconds. Right. So I feel like he would just be like talking up Miyazaki, like, all right, so we can just do more with this. We can just do more with like queer and weirdness and like let's do something.
All right, fully respect the gender fluidity thing. It is a motif in his movies for sure. That being said, he is an old man who is more or less retired. I don't think he wants some weird creature pitching movies to him. I actually think he'd be more content with New Zealand trolling him, to tell you the truth.
I don't know. This is a man who is retired and then come out of retirement 1.5 million different times. I think he's still willing to play the game. I just think he wants to have the option to not play the game, whereas being trolled by a Muppet is probably not his idea of a relaxing vacation.
What if that's just secretly what he's always wanted and it's like a deep-seated desire,
like
but he can never express it? All right, anyways.
Wow. I don't think that was good.
No, it really wasn't.
No, man, I'm really disappointed how that round turned out.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I mean, that's a thing. Both, I don't think either of those arguments is really great. I'm having trouble picking a winner there.
Go with the meme dragon.
Don't try and influence me. Stand over there.
Stop bribing the judges.
Don't even look at me. Turn around. I don't want to see you. Okay.
Oh, God.
Go stand in the corner and think about what you did.
Tiki, stop working the ref.
Yeah. Good. I mean, Jacob, what do you think? This is a crap around now. What do you think?
If anything, I'm gonna go with the New Zealand one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Wow.
Is that the one you would have gone with, Dragon?
That's the thing. They both weren't good arguments. I can't really pick one of this.
I said I'm just gonna go with New Zealand.
Go with the meme.
I mean, I kind of want New Zealand, but Tiki didn't argue at all. In a real, it's a terrible argument for New Zealand. That's the thing. Like there was,
Miyazaki wouldn't enjoy it, but the world would enjoy it.
No, here's the thing. I think Miyazaki.
Sometimes it's good to go the funny way.
This is what I'm getting at, though. I think Miyazaki would actually be genuinely entertained by New Zealand just doing his shtick. I don't think he needs like all this meme stuff. But
I feel like you could have pulled the elder abuse card on Tiki for having Miyazaki.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, I mean, I'm bummed out about that round.
Oh, Jesus! Oh, God!
A little bit. I'm a little disappointed. So it's 2-0. Yeah.
Would you like us to redo it? Like,
no, the damage has been done.
No.
Dragon, more like disappointed dad. Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
God, I know, right?
This round.
So you're just like my actual dad.
Yeah, a
I
little bit.
feel like I'm not going to get my copy of Burnout Revenge for the PS2 for Christmas this year.
Dude, the dragon would be driving the car just dead silent. Black coffee from McDonald's.
It's like you two sicken me.
Well, he's doing
That Burnout Revenge thing is a very deep cut Smiling Friends reference. You're welcome to the two people that got it. Anyways.
Anyway. Let's go to an audience question.
Right.
Which one, Dragon?
What's I said? Do we only have pie questions or?
There's like a Pi gave us like option for either question. We could do both questions.
Well, technically, one of the ones that I pitched was ones that we actually came up with too.
Yeah, so what do you think, Jake? Should we go with one that we did not pick, or?
Well, let's go with actually one that we did choose, and one that I think will actually.
I appreciate that you got that reference, Pi. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think we should go with the one that overlaps with Pi.
Okay. Let's put it on the screen.
All right. What Miyazaki film would be the best pick to get a sequel?
Ponyo.
Spirited Away.
Okay.
Ricky, when you're ready, 30 seconds.
I think Ponyo is it's very much a movie where if you did do a continuation of it, it would be one of those sequels where the audience is growing up with the characters. You can see how the dynamic has developed over the years. Being able to see Ponyo as an adult would be a very interesting proposition. Where has the world developed? What is the relationship like between the earth and the land and the sea now? There's a lot of storytelling potential there.
So at the end of Spirited Away, Chihiro comes back to the real world with her parents, and time has passed, which doesn't normally happen in these sort of fantasy things. They kind of exist in their own bubble, but the car has clearly been there for months. She still has the hair tie. I think it'd be so interesting to see just how the real world has changed and how they have to come back, and her parents, who don't remember anything, have to deal with the fact that they've been gone. They were moving. They were going to a new house. What happens after that? What happens with this new school and these new friends and this story she can't tell anyone?
Yeah, honestly, that does not sound very appealing. That sounds like all the parts of Spirited Away that we really did not know, and it's great that we're left up to our imagination. I think that with Ponyo, I feel like the groundwork is there that we genuinely want to see these characters in a flash forward.
But with Ponyo, I feel like you've already gotten the entire story. All you're getting now is it's just going to be an extended filler episode, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but is it a compelling movie or is it just a boring day-to-day life where nothing interesting has happened now?
Okay, now remember, Pi, you're gonna decide who made the better argument, who should get the point for that question. So, waiting on you, buddy.
And the loser gets pie in the face.
Well, that's a little harsh, really.
While Pi is deliberating, I feel like everyone should know that there is a sequel to Totoro. It is 15 minutes and is literally only shown at the museum.
Yep.
There's also a sequel to The Wind Rises. I'm sorry, not The Wind Rises. Jesus Christ, not The Wind Rises.
I was wondering, what is he talking
about? Whispers of the Heart. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the sequel to Wind Rises is real life.
right.
The sequel to The Wind Rises, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Code Geass earlier picked Jiro Horikoshi as his most compelling protagonist.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right.
We have a vote from Pi.
Answer.
What?
I personally like the Spirited Away sequel idea. What comes next is a great theme.
That's fair. It's definitely a very different movie than the first one would be, but it is intriguing.
So that brings it to 2-1. That brings Zoe back on the board.
Your pitch almost kind of had some Return to Oz vibes to it, where it's like, okay, let's deal with the after effects of this crazy experience.
And so for the third time, Zoe has 1 point on the board.
Woo!
Oh my God, dude. Oh, Jesus.
All right.
Fortunately, though, at this point, I don't think any more could be lost.
No, I get to keep this one.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
So, of course, Hayao Miyazaki, we know the man is obsessed with flight, which begs the question, what is the best flying sequence in a Miyazaki?
Oh, God.
Ooh.
Ooh, there's a lot of good ones, man. Oh, man.
This is originally considered as a main round question.
Okay, Dragon, would the big sequence in Porco Rosso count?
Well, can you define
The
big
Ascension sequence?
Okay, so you mean the canals?
I mean that's
what I'm saying. You have to be. It's all flying. You gotta be specific.
The heaven thing, Dragon.
There you go. Okay.
Would that count?
Well, I mean, it is flying. He's just not really. It's. Yeah, I guess. Jacob, what do you think? Would that count?
I mean, I don't see why not. If an argument can be made for it.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to go with Kiki's first flight away from home.
That's very fair. Okay.
So let's wait to the opening of the movie then. Like with the radio playing.
With the radio playing.
That's what I wanted. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I'm ready. So this moment in Porco Rosso is, I feel like it is almost kind of like the definitive thesis statement on Miyazaki's passion for flying, passion for flight, passion for aircrafts. And it all just comes full circle in this beautiful, glorious moment that's also just incredibly pivotal to the character. The animation is we're not quite soaring through the sky, but just the scale of it is just jaw-dropping.
This first scene where Kiki leaves home and is flying on her broom, and she meets up with this other young witch, and it's the first time she can really tell that things are going to be different. And it's the first time that we as the audience kind of see, oh, things are changing, and this is going to be a really integral thing. And I feel like it really encaptures the embodiment of that movie and of the thesis of just Kiki and her character and what magic means to her.
I think Kiki's good. Kiki's flight is good. It's kinetic, but I think with Porco Rosso, it kind of like the reason why it's so effective is that it does slow everything down and really just makes you appreciate the grandeur, the majesty of the flight.
I get where you're coming from, but I feel like Kiki's flight is because her flying is her thing. It is the heart of her magic that I feel like this scene really establishes that and establishes what flying means to her.
Okay. Well, all right, let's see. Rohit, how would you like to judge this one?
I think it was good arguments for both, but I think the personal nature of Kiki's flying, I think I'm gonna give the point to Zoe.
Yeah. That's totally fair. I did not think I did a good job conveying that one. I feel like I would have done better if that was a main round question. I would have actually gotten to explain it better.
Okay.
I was like, well, we didn't know that much could be. And then when we discussed it, we didn't think much could be done with that question as a main round question. But I guess
No, it's totally fine. I get it. I'm just, yeah, for sure.
I guess we were proven wrong.
All right, so seeing as how Totoro cameoed in Toy Story 3 does beg the question: which Pixar character should have cameoed in a Miyazaki film?
Okay.
Ooh. Ooh.
Oh, God, a lot of good options there. Oh, man. Oh, God.
Also, remember, Rohit. If you want to make life harder for Zoe, it's an option.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do it after the answer is given too.
Yep, that's too. Just so long as it's before the round actually starts.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to go with Carl Fredricksen.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Now, do
go
we have
with
to-
Merida.
Ooh.
Carl Fredricksen and Merida.
All right. Okay. Carl Fredricksen, I feel like he would fit in like a glove to the Miyazaki background characters. The dude is literally designed like a Miyazaki background character. He doesn't have to have any lines. He could just be a nice old man toiling away in a shop or, a bartender or something. Just the scale, the dimensions of him. Just his actual vibe, it is so Miyazaki. It would fit so perfectly.
I'm going more from a thematic angle than from a character design angle with Merida, in the fact that most of Miyazaki's films are about the world and nature and how we kind of coexist with that. And I feel like Merida and her story kind of fits into that idea of existing one with nature. And I feel like there's a lot of movies where you could just kind of put her in the background and it would give this sort of nod to the storytellings of both.
I'm sorry, but when it comes to cameos, you are looking for like something that's going to blend in, and Merida is truly not going to blend in. I mean, if you put her anywhere in a forest setting, she's going to stand out like a sore thumb. Carl will fit into an urban setting. He will fit into a crowd.
Cameos aren't always done in the exact same art style. There's a lot of Disney cameos in which they're just little icons or like little background things. I think that you're thinking too distinctly in how the character looks and not enough into how the character fits in with the world.
All right, I'm gonna vote. Well, I'm gonna rule in favor of Tiki.
Okay.
Carl Fredricksen. All right. It's 3-2.
All right. Rohit, again, you need to use that punishment.
You really want him to use it.
Tiki, you're
Honestly,
really playing
I
the
Yes, he
judges.
does.
okay, look, I don't even care in terms of like me winning or not. I just want it to be used to see what he does with it, honestly.
Like,
I
well, little
mean, even if you win the next 2 rounds, we still have 2 more rounds. And that's if I lose both of those. There's time.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
little blue suggestion is Mike Wazowski.
Yes, as
Yeah,
it
you
should
know,
be.
I was trying to think of like a creature that would work good in the Miyazaki mythos, but the art styles just clashed. I almost went with Bruce, like just have Bruce pop up in Ponyo, but nah, that would have been too much.
Hello.
I like ham too. Ham isn't people. I can eat ham and still be a good shark.
Even though I'm a vegetarian, I used to love ham.
Oh my god.
See him swimming around, not in the actual ocean, but in the urban environments once it's become flooded.
That
I
would
think
be
that'd
fun.
real
Yeah.
All right, let's go with unless we see someone. Do we have any questions for anyone that is not Pi?
I don't think anyone else has suggested a question.
Again, folks. Yeah.
I would say I would like to do Pi's other Miyazaki question.
Yeah, I was going to suggest. Well, you're talking about the video game one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do the video game one.
All right. What Miyazaki film would be the best choice for a video game adaptation?
Porco Rosso.
Secret World of Ariadne.
I'm actually I'm going to give you my answer for you.
Ooh.
Okay.
And technically, Ariadne's not a Miyazaki film
Yeah,
anyway.
that's true.
Oh.
But that makes it a little less satisfying. But let's see how bad Rohit can make it for make it for her.
The Wind Rises.
Oh man. Oh god. Oh Jesus Christ. Oh god.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh god. Okay. All right. Okay, you ready? All right. So I feel like our games would be very similar as far as the gameplay would be very much based on aerial combat, but the difference is that mine would be appropriate to have in a video game. Like, I don't know. I just think Porco Rosso just truly fits in so well with a video game aesthetic. He's a character that is on a journey of self-discovery. There's so many different little side characters and towns and locations that you can go to, little side missions. It would fit so well. I want to play it right now.
I think you're overestimating how much that it would not fit into a video game setting. It is a bit odd doing like a biographical film for this, but I think that the idea of it being a design game as much as a aerial fighting game would add another layer to the game's mechanics where you're making these planes in the same sort of way and you start learning along with the character to make bigger and better planes. And I think it would be really interesting from a gameplay perspective.
So, I mean, you're basically pitching it as a morality fable, which is fine. And there are games like that. But man, my personal taste in video games, and I hope Pies as well, is that I want to just pick up, play, shoot some goddamn pirates, air pirates, and just have a good time. That's what I want.
All right, let's give it like a couple like second,
Okay.
like a second or two, since Tiki went a little bit over.
17's fine. That's fine.
I get where you're coming from, but I think you're thinking too much about what it needs to be as opposed to what it could be, which is just a very interesting game of learning and of exploration and of following along with these ideas as you make it further in your game.
Okay.
All right. Interesting question.
Just imagine all the cool upgrades you could get in a Porco Rosso video game.
Hey! You had your time.
All right.
Hey, Pi. Who
We're
we
waiting
like?
by.
Pi, we require your assistance. I don't know why I did that voice.
Yeah, why did you? Jeez.
So that was a great one as a punishment. I've never watched that movie.
All right.
Yeah.
You know the basic concept, though.
It's a lot of
I googled the
tuberculosis.
basic concept while you were talking.
Oh dear God. Okay.
I'm running off the Wikipedia page and spite.
And the funny thing is, like, historical games, like historical movies and even real life things like that could make a good, interesting game. But then again, I'm not the one judging here.
Okay, Pie's
Well,
response.
we have a ruling.
I think Tiki's game would be better. I think Zoe did a better job arguing. Not sure which to count as the winner.
Oh wait,
Read
I've
the
also
wording
never-
of the question. Read the wording of the question and determine it based on that.
his own wording. It's Pie's own wording.
Miyazaki film be the best choice for video game adaptation. Better job arguing. Not sure which would count as the winner. He's also never seen either movie.
Okay, Pie, you
He
have to
said
pick
my
something.
game would be better.
Yeah,
I'm
but he also
willing to
said,
give it to Tiki. That makes sense.
but he also said Zoe did a better job arguing.
Pie, just say winner is insert either Tiki or Zoe's name.
Yes, Little Blue, you can, by all means, you can do a question, Little Blue, for sure.
Yes.
You can submit a question if you want. It's like if
Well, I guess we gotta do this anime stuff. We gotta do
All
the
right,
10
Pie,
count. Oh,
Pie
never mind.
response
then
Tiki.
Tiki wins.
All
I
right.
was gonna do like a whole
All
dramatic
right.
10 count and everything.
Honestly, so if I was you, I would have gone for the gamble of saying you could have DLC where you fly the Enola Gay over Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh my God, dude.
You got issues, Dar.
Dark. I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's just bomb Nagasaki all over again. That's
Oh,
it.
come on.
That's
For the
And I was-
Oppenheimer fan who wants a more interactive experience.
And
I
I was
just want to be responsible for the deaths of millions.
and I was gonna say that if Pi hadn't decided, I could just flip a coin or something. But I guess that we don't have to do that anymore.
All
I
right,
still
Little Blue
like
has
it.
the question.
All right.
It was like, do you think we should go with it?
Yep.
Which Miyazaki film would be perfect for an ice show?
Porco goddamn Rosso.
You know, I was gonna give my answer, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I've said this one too much." But Tiki seems to really be a fan of Pokoroso, so I'm gonna go Spirited Away, and not be ashamed that I'm saying Spirited Away
At
once
this point,
again.
I'm picking Porco Rosso for the meme.
And this is why I will win.
We all know the best choice would obviously be The Wind Rises.
Oh,
Obviously,
God. Okay, but
Is are the planes? Oh man. Okay, you go.
yes, the planes are on ice, Rohit. Thank you for asking. All the planes are on ice. It's just going to be a ridiculous affair. It's going to be the most spectacular on ice thing imaginable. The planes come down from the ceiling, land on ice, and the ice actually acts as the water for the water plane. So it's like we're going to have aerial stuff, we're going to have wire work, but we're also going to have the planes do the ice stuff for the water chases. And Porco Rosso, just as a character, could just carry a show.
I feel like Spirited Away is almost the obvious answer because the cast of characters as well as the setting lends itself to being shown on ice, unlike, planes. Especially the idea of different figure skating moves being reminiscent of different characters and different character arcs, especially No Face on ice skates. I feel like that sells itself. I feel like No Face on ice skates is simply that's my selling point. But also, I think it'd be really great to have the different characters and their different figure skating styles.
I feel like Spirited Away calls for a grander stage production than an on-ice show, and it already has had stage productions like that. Porco Rosso is goofy, Porco Rosso is campy, but Porco Rosso also has a little bit of heart. Tell me you don't want to see a seaplane descend from the ceiling and gracefully slide along that ice.
But I feel like at that point, it no longer matters if it's on ice or not, because your focus is on these planes that are then being put on ice, and that's a set piece. That's not a figure skater. That's a set piece that is now being put on frozen water, and that's just ridiculous.
Okay, so Little Blue, remember you're gonna pick the winner of this question. So who made the more compelling argument?
And theoretically, this could be the final round too.
Good.
Yeah, if Tiki wins, it's over.
If I win with this answer, That's gonna be so stupid.
We can lose everything, though.
I came in knowing this is my first debate and preparing to lose.
You-
I
you-
think
I
if
mean-
I
I mean-
lose to that answer,
let's let
I mean, it's
Luke
Tiki. He
decide
could
whether
just
to
suck.
end this
I
debate.
mean, and to be fair, though, if you hadn't lost any points, you probably would have won by now.
that's very fair. I
That's
feel
actually
very happy
valid.
about that. The coin, it's just so enticing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
from
but-
an
I just
experienced
got back
debater, you
from-
always skip the coin. You always say no to the coin.
To be fair, last time it actually worked out quite well for some.
He's just
for
traumatized by Two-Face. Every time a lawyer and a coin, he always
God.
just freaks out about it.
And then
I,
to be
I
fair,
believe, did say right at the beginning to always flip the coin.
yep. And like I said, I think last time when we did the April Fool's one, the coin actually worked out well for them.
Yeah.
That's part of the April Fool's theme.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we have a ruling. Sorry,
Let's
Zoe,
see.
going with Tiki. He has really good point of Porco Rosa being a nice because the show goes it wouldn't work.
Also, fun fact, there was a live show for Spirited Away, so
Yeah, but I
Not
think
on
putting
ice,
it on ice
but,
would
you know.
still be really cool. No face
Yeah.
on ice.
So,
look, I concur. The
feel
no face on
genuinely
ice
kind of-
point is actually a really good idea.
I feel genuinely kind of bad for winning this based on that.
Do not.
Because
Do not
I'm
feel bad.
not going to lie, I had no actual faith in Porco Rosso as an ice show. I just thought the idea was funny.
And it was.
Really?
It was very funny.
Yeah, see, that is actually disheartening. You should have believed in Porco. How dare you not believe in that pig?
Hey,
Oh my god.
Wind Rises is always a good option for the ice show.
Oh dear god.
You know?
There's worse ice shows.
Yeah, none that would bomb as hard.
you know what?
Bro, you're a sick.
Forgive me for saying this, but if you want a Ghibli movie that would bomb hard on ice, you go with Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh god. Oh man.
Oh man, now I wish I had that as the video game adaptation.
Oh my god. Well, you couldn't have
Rohit.
used that as a video game
Yeah,
because it was
not
it's not a Miyazaki movie.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not.
damn.
Many people think it's Miyazaki, but it's actually not.
Okay.
To tell you the
It's never
truth, though, I
been-
could totally see Grave of the Fireflies being like one of those really artsy, like
I mean,
Like,
it would make a great visual novel game.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could actually see it working as a game. Honestly, it
No,
would be
it's like
emotionally
the Last of Us game. The brother is just like defending people
No,
trying
for real though. For real, that is kind of the vibe I would kind of imagine for it.
Oh,
All right.
could be us. I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
That's
as you
fun.
probably can tell by the scoreboard, Tiki's won, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I had a lot of fun.
Great debating.
Right. Very good debating.
And I do think that it's funny that like the coin really did screw you over, so I'm sorry.
The coin went no
Good.
beginner's luck for you, actually.
Yeah.
God
Yes,
no,
yes, Kogi, yes, our jokes are dark.
yeah.
Well, specifically Rohit's and mine, but mostly
And-
Rohit.
Well
remember-
adjusted my foot.
And I did bring in Grave of the Fireflies, so so again, I'm sorry, that was very much in poor taste.
Oh my god.
On for the whole family.
All right.
No dark jokes until my next debate. We're not starting on that.
Depends on the topic.
Yeah.
All right, so let's thank the folks for tuning in.
All right, so big thanks to Kogios, Little Blue, Pie on My Cake. Is that it? I'm pretty sure that's it.
Well, did you
Theme
mention
Park Priest
Theme Park Priest?
briefly
Yeah, there-
popped in.
There you go.
Brief cameo, and that's it. Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
So also, folks, I want to remind you our conclusion to Miyazaki right around the corner, coming this week before the end of May. Focus accordingly, Wednesday. Hope to see you there. We're talking something special, something Oscar-worthy, one might say. Okay. Thanks, tune in. See you next time on the next debate.
Am!